I used to use this phrase in my poetry, banging my head against reality. Every time I tried to ignore certain things within me, and the more I tried to ignore it, the more I was banging my head against reality. Why can't you say something deep and have a dope ass beat? Your inner emotions and your feeling, your eternal compass of beauty comes and hits you back in the face. What I hope, or what I think is going to happen, what I see is more and more of this story changing. And I think the task also at this point is not only that the information has to be deep and real, but it also has to be attractive. And like what I was saying, what that came to me in a dream, like, why can't we say something deep and have a dope ass beat? Like those shouldn't be mutually exclusive. And a lot of times what I've seen and where we're getting stuck and what is trapping our development right now is that we view everything as the bottom line, or as the economy, about money. We forget that money is just a means to an end, and it's not an end in itself. And every time we view it as an end in of itself, we get stuck in there, and we do things like what I see mostly happening on with journalism right now, or YouTube, or everything that's marketed on the internet, is that they're doing it with the intention to have clickbait, to sell. They just have a wrong perspective of how it is. I used to use this phrase in my poetry, banging my head against reality. Every time I tried to ignore certain things within me, and the more I tried to ignore it, the more I was banging my head against reality. Like, reality has its way. Your inner emotions and your feeling, your eternal compass of beauty comes and hits you back in the face. What I hope, or what I think is going to happen, what I see is more and more of this story changing. So no longer, and there's still going to be people that use this technology to escape. Hopefully when we come more towards ourselves, the more you try to escape, you kind of like find yourself coming back to yourself. So like the more I try to suppress my emotions of, oh, I don't give a fuck, I don't care, is the more that I feel that. They just have a wrong perspective of how it is. Instead of how do we empower people, how do we spread ideas, make a more sustainable world, instead of just looking at themselves and saying, how do we get the stock price of Google to rise? And same thing with Facebook. How do we make our stock prices and our value of our company greater? And then, while we have to be more mainstream and go to the lowest common denominator or whatever, and then they do these, and like the road of hell is paved with the best intentions. They just have a wrong perspective of how it is. Instead of how do we empower people, how do we spread ideas, how do we make a more sustainable world?